Hi Taurus, let's get right into your general energies for the month of May. This is going to be tarot only. Take the messages that resonate, throw out the rest. As I always say, don't try to make it fit. You always want to check your rising sun, moon sign, and Venus sign for the most complete messages. I'm going to be starting with the Lenormand deck. Okay, the Lenormand is more of a system. It is not tarot. It's not regular oracles. It's its own system. Let's get a crowning energy and a outcome energy. Oh, bridges. Okay. All right. So we're doing a little bit of internal work going on here, Taurus. Let's see what else. Let's pull the tarot. So we're going to pull 5 across, and then we'll pull 5 qualifiers, and we'll see what messages we have. Okay. Taurus, sun, moon, rising, and Venus. The month of May 2020. No surprise there. Chariot. Not surprised. We have transition here. Reconciliation. Reconciliation. Okay. Some of you are like, I'm turning off now. All right. Let's talk about the Lenormand energies, right, guys? These are so powerful. They really, really are. So we're going to pull it together, and then we incorporate this into the reading. So let's start with the Lily energy. Beautiful. Calm. Calm. You know, it's funny. I'm looking at this, and this really is a hearkening back to our elders, particularly our mother. And my mother loved lilies. You know, God rest her soul. She's been gone, almost 18 years already. Hard to believe at this point, but this is about calm, peace, and serenity. So you may be thinking a lot about your elders, especially your mother, your parents, those whom have passed, right? And this brings wisdom and experience. So this also signifies a long-term relationship or ancestry, right? So there's a history here. You're doing a lot of thinking about your history and everything that means, right? And this energy seeks to bring you contentment, really, and satisfaction through getting in touch with these messages that are being sent to you right now. So those of you who have maybe a mother or a father who has passed, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, anyone who has passed over. If you don't have anyone who has passed over, this could be you just being very, very tuned in to your parents right now, to your grandparents right now, to your elders, to things that they're trying to teach you, right? But this is about like heeding whatever messages are coming in, okay? And then in the foundation, we have the bridges. Bridges is a symbol of transition here and overcoming obstacles that are in your way. So the bridges can act as a way to like cross a divide and thereby open up new opportunities for you, Taurus. So I like this energy because this really assists you in getting to your destination, but it works with other energies, right? So it's about, and that's the way Lenormand decks, the Lenormand works. The cards really speak to each other. So you're going through this transition, but it needs to be done, the transition needs to be done calmly, and it needs to be done through your intuition and having something to do with reflecting on lessons that have been learned, lessons that were tried to be taught to you by elders in your life. Being very mindful of what you've been through in your life. Now, that's the good, bad, and the ugly. For example, this could be, let's just say this has to do with relationship, right? For argument's sake, this could be you recognizing, whether your parents are with you or not, some unhealthy patterning that existed in your childhood. Even I'm sure maybe they did the best they could, but there was just some sort of unhealthy patterning for your soul, right? And you trying to unknot that and figure that out and really look for the lessons in all of that. And what was that meant, you know, to teach you? Because there is a lot of transitioning that's happening here. But then now, we also have now the Birch and Broom, right? So I have to say this is one of the troublesome cards in the Lenormand because this does warn of a hot temper, conflict, strife, some sort of cyclical thinking, cyclical argument. But this could even be cyclical thinking in your own mind, right? Like very much like that Nine of Swords energy, like what do I do kind of thing. This could also be cyclical negative behaviors and negative patterns, right, that you need to look at. But this is regarding the transitioning, this is really calling for you to bring all of your forces and energies together for you to get your ducks in a row, for you to change your perspective on something. So whether it has to do with a career, whether it has to do with relationship, you're changing now, Taurus. There is change happening. There are messages that are trying to be sent to you from the other side, from spirit, and from people who are existing in your energy right now who are wise, okay? Now, the wisdom can come through doing things in a contrary methodology. And I know that sounds strange, but sometimes if you know that something was very unhealthy, the lesson in there is that I don't do that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But we do have this idea of it being this, you're going to be in this space of internal conflict while you work through this. So again, harness your energy together, get your ducks in a row, and figure out what it is that you need to straighten out. If it has to do with how you handle relationships, if it has to do with how you handle jobs, how you handle friendships, family connections, anything like that. Right? So those are like the big energies here. So getting down into specifics here with the tarot, we have the Six of Wands in the reverse. So the Six of Wands is a card of respect and success. And in the reverse, it's telling me wands are well and wands are moving forward. So this is telling me that there's not going to be some forward movement. You're not going to have this beautiful luck and expansion because of an ego. Very specifically, right? Because it's Jupiter and Leo. And when Leo is reversed, egotism is running amok, right? Doesn't have to be yours. It could be you dealing with that. And that ego, that person, that energy is getting in your way. This could have to do with you not being able to work out that relationship because that person's ego is just too big and they're just not working with you. And because of that, there's not going to be this new beginning, this new cycle. There's not going to be a strong desire for it. There's not going to be this forward movement. It's not going to happen because somebody is not working with you. Can't do it alone. Can't do it alone. But then we have great energy, the Chariot. I like it. So this does indicate moving on. And listen, if it may mean you moving on alone, because we have to look at the surrounding energies. We have Judgment reverse. We have the Wands reverse. So Taurus, this may mean you moving on alone. Now, what does that mean? Doesn't mean that everybody's relationship is ending. Certainly not. But whatever it is, if it's moving away from that unhealthy friendship, that unhealthy family connection, could be that unhealthy connection in a relationship, that unhealthy job, right? You just being like, you know what, that was not meant for me, right? Because Cancer is affiliated with the Chariot, and Cancer rules it does rule the fourth house of home, but it is in general that metaphorical space of family, home, safety, all of those things we associate with healthy home, right? So it's moving away from something that's not that to move towards something that is that. So that's good. This was not meant for you. We have Judgment here. Judgment is in reverse. This tells me that there's going to be an ending, but there's not going to be a new beginning because Judgment is ruled by Pluto. Pluto's about an ending in the beginning, in the upright. The reverse, it's like the ending's happening, but forgiveness is not going to be had, and a cycle's not going to be begun in that relationship or in that job, because you really are sick and tired of not feeling heard. You're sick and tired of feeling like you need to defend yourself. So it's being very clear on what it is that you want, but it's like no matter what happens, is that you're dealing with these manipulative personalities and people who take your ideas and twist them around and want to take credit for things that are not theirs. You could be dealing with somebody who's highly irresponsible and manipulative with money. Somebody who, is very dismissive of your voice and what it is that you want. And then you're in this space where you feel like you really need to defend. You really need to defend, and you're just tired of that. You don't want to have to do that. You're not viewing that as a healthy landscape for a career or for that relationship or for that friendship or family connection. Like you're identifying front and center, like that's not good. That is not okay. That is toxic, and that's why you're on the Chariot, getting out of Dodge, right? We have the Four of Pentacles here. So the Four of Pentacles is a card of self-protection. You're really in a space of needing to protect yourself, not feeling very willing to give more than a certain amount, right? You can be holding very tight to your money right now, for sure, because that's, on a very basic interpretation is what that means. But if it comes to relationships, the pentacle energy is also emotional, mental, and physical connection. So you're holding tight to that coin, right? Just because you're just not sure if you can count on a person or you can count on a situation right now. Then we have the devil energy, and then we have the strength energy. Okay, so let's talk about this. So the devil is any area of imbalance, as I always say. So this could have to do with addiction or just any sort of negative behavior, because negative behavior is an imbalance. So it could be an addiction to drugs, alcohol, sex, food, any sort of eating disorder, any sort of anxiety, depression, fear of abandonment, fear of commitment, anything like that. Wherever you would find that level of imbalance, you know. So it's definitely an issue. And in the upright, it's an issue. It's something that needs to be looked at. Like, this is a real situation that needs to be looked at, right? And, you know, with very direct connection, by the way, Capricorn is the devil. And I hate to say that, poor Capricorns, right? They get a bad rap. This is such a beautiful sign. We should just call them the happy goats, right? But the bottom line is Capricorn is the devil. And Capricorn rules work, right? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. That's about work. So there could be some sort, this does indicate there being some sort of imbalance having to do with what you do for work, what you want to do for work. This could have to be, those of you who are still in college, you could be at this impasse where you're like, I don't think I want to do that major anymore. I don't think I want to do this job anymore. You know what I mean? Where you're at this point where it's like there's this imbalance, or there's this recognition of you seeing like, oh, I don't want to get into that because there's a lot of nepotism in that area, or whatever it is. There's not enough opportunity, whatever it is. So it can resonate with you like that as a situation if it's not you dealing with a person. When we have the strength reverse, there's a lot of egotism at play here. Okay, so if this has to do with work, this indicates you have to deal with somebody's ego, you know, things working out more positively than you would imagine in the moment, which is very good, even in the reverse. But nonetheless, you really needing to deal with somebody's ego. If this has to do with relationship, it's, okay, how do I put this? So, you know, in the upright, it typically means that there's something that there's some sort of imbalance that needs addressing in the relationship, where there could very well be more passion than, where the passion can actually mask things that need addressing. That's the best way to say it, right? Where the attraction, and because this is a heavy fire energy, right? Where the attraction ends up masking these things and things that, you know, we really don't want to look at them, right? But in the end, somebody needing their ego stroked and it working out. In the reverse, though, what this ends up telling me is that ego is going to get in the way of this, though. So there's going to be this, you're in your corner, I'm in my corner, and that's it, right? So there's ego here that needs addressing, where even if there was a lot of there is a lot of passion, it's not getting tapped into right now because of these extraneous circumstances that are going on. So it's very hard to feel connected to a partner in this energy. When we have the devil in the upright and the strength in reverse, there's distance being felt here, right? In your relationship, you know, and it could just be mental, really, but it's this idea of, you know, and this can mean many things, guys. Like, let's say you have an unbelievable amount of anxiety having to do with a job, and your partner's like, calm down, don't worry, just go and do A, B, and C, you know, and you're like, you don't understand, you know, and then you guys getting into this thing where it's like, you don't understand me, you know. So it can end up in that kind of cyclical, that's just an example, but that's that kind of cyclical thing. Now we have the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune, we have two consecutive reconciliation cards. We have a reconciliation card that's clarified by a reconciliation card. So how do you like those apples, Taurus? For those of you who are in that space. Okay, let's talk about for career first, okay? For career, this is a Jupiter energy, which is good. Jupiter is a great benefic. So this has to do with, though, something happening at work that can be potentially very, very positive for you. And we always want to look at the energies around this, right? So I'm going to look at the devil energy. So you need to identify in your workplace, in your career, whatever it is that you're looking for. You have to be very front and center with yourself and super honest about what the potential, what the imbalances are and what the potential imbalances are. Okay, if you've left, because I feel like you've left a job here, You left something, or you're moving away from something at least. And you're in this space of trying to figure out where you're going next. We have the Wheel of Fortune energy. So it's very important that you really reflect on any potential imbalances that might exist, okay? And many of you may be returning to something that you either did at one point, wanted to do once upon a time, all right? Or someone from your past is appearing in your life very serendipitously, offering you a job, offering you an idea, at least, of a new path for you to get on. So, like, in that way, I think it's very good, where it's this recognition of what you've been through, right? And tapping into something from your past, if it's not at least what you wanted to do once upon a time, and this ultimately being something that you have to reason out and be very benefic for you. But there's such a sense of confliction here about this. I do feel like so many of you are just very conflicted about work right now. I feel that very strongly. I really do. And I'm going to say this even for those of you who have Taurus on the 10th, you know, in your midheaven, for sure, having to do with career. Now, let's talk about this having to do with relationship, because, I mean, very specifically, the Wheel of Fortune indicates there will be somebody coming back from your past. How that ends up, it's the Wheel of Lady Luck. It's the Wheel of Fortune. It depends. Even though Jupiter is the energy that's connected to this, which is the great benefic, it depends on how the relationship was when you guys were last together. And why did you guys break up? Did you break up for a silly, like, really bad communication, there being a great misunderstanding, there being something that can be forgiven? And that's up to each of you to decide, right? I mean, a lot of times we say if they're like a lying, cheating, you know, SOB, narcissist, blah, 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 you know, you're not going to want to go back there. And not only that, if that was the reality and you have rose-colored glasses on right now, Jupiter's not going to bless it. You're not going to last in it. So you really have to look at, if you're going to be reconnecting with somebody, you really have to look at it very clearly. What kind of individual are you dealing with from your past? Are they a good person? And are they a good match for you really? Or is there another reason why you would want to rekindle that connection? Because if it's for a good reason, Jupiter blessings are going to bless that, and it's going to be really beautiful. It's the kind of thing, though, where you're going to know if you feel like you have to work at it too hard and you're trying to make it work. You know what I'm saying, right? If you're trying to make it work, it's not going to work. Six of Cups, beautiful. This is a lovely, loving card. This has to do, again, with the past. This has to do with reconnecting with somebody from your past. This could be somebody who you knew even once upon a time when you were a kid, you knew in high school, whatever, you know. But whatever that means to you, somebody in your past. This is a Sun in Scorpio energy. So Sun is always about whatever you're moving on this path in is towards healing. Because the Sun energy, whenever it shows up with any of the other energies, it's you're doing something towards healing. So it's Sun in Scorpio. Scorpio is about transforming, rather, right? Because it's ruled by Pluto. So it's about the breaking down of something, right? The ending of a cycle, death, and then transformation, birth, life, something new. With the blessing of the Sun, it's going to happen towards healing. So this is really beautiful. So I'm definitely getting... I feel like there's going to be reconnection energy here. There's a lot to do with the past. A lot of us, well, I mean, I'm not a Taurus. I'm a Taurus moon. I am a Taurus moon. But there's this heavy pull back to thinking about family, thinking about people who are crossed over, feeling these messages very intuitively, even more than you normally do. A lot of you even feeling it in your body. If you're feeling incredible stress, your shoulders are feeling tight, your lower back is feeling tight, you know, your root chakra is feeling tight, you're feeling it. And you need to look at it, because this is calling for you to transition from the unhealthy, out of the imbalance, into a beautiful new space. You're going to be dealing with ego. I feel like this devil energy and the strength reverse is going to be where this conflict is hanging with the Lenormand. I do feel like that. But I feel very good about the outcome, and however this is resonating with you. If you're here for career, if you're here for a relationship, or that friendship, whatever it is, I just feel like you're going to end up in a healthy space. So good stuff. All right, Taurus, that is what I have for you. I hope this was helpful in some way, and I will see you guys next time. You take care. Bye-bye.